Let me do that. Welcome, everybody to Pour It On with Juancho. You can find us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pour It On is a show where experience doesn't matter. All you need is your will to learn, create, and paint. On Pour It On, you'll follow along with me with one important instruction that I selected for this week's show. Iconic painter Bob Ross said, "We don't make mistakes, just happy little accidents." So let's pour it on and see what we can create. I'm your host, Juancho. And as you can see today, we have two panels for our canvases today. I know we did a two panel maybe about a month ago or so. It was on last season. But we're going to come back with another two panel piece today. I'm going to actually do a swipe pour. And I also have my heat gun here today, so I'm hoping that heat gun will help develop some of these cells that we see or are accustomed to on each show. With that being said, I've already got some cups out here lined up. I think I have a plethora of colors out here on the table today, y'all. And I was just kind of like, as it came to me, I was just gonna grab colors. But I do know I want to go ahead and work with some purple. So I do have a regular purple by Artist Loft that I'm going to use. It's just acrylic paint. This is not pre-mixed. I'm actually going to mix it here right now with the pouring medium and the acrylic pouring oil. So I'm going to go ahead and puncture this. Give me a second. All right. I'm use about 2 ounces, so I'll probably fill it up to the line. So, all right. And this is tube paint, so it's a little bit thicker. You want to make sure when you're mixing that up, it gets that nice warm honey consistency that we talk about. So I got my regular purple. I have let's see, we got amethyst. Got some amethyst. I'm gonna go ahead and pour that into a cup. Pour a little bit more of that. All right. I also have some silver here, metallic silver. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that into our cup as well. We got three colors so far. I'm not gonna use a base coat today, y'all. I'm just solely using colors, and then we're gonna do the swipe. So there. I think we got enough silver. All right. Let's see here. I think I got some sky blue that I'm gonna go ahead and incorporate into today's piece as well. Why not? Get some blue going. And let's see here. What else could we tie into that? I'll tie some of this peacock pearl into it. So that's going to be our 5th color. All right. Good there. Then I'm going to grab another cup. I think I'm going to add 2 more colors to today's paint, y'all. Let's see here. Let's go with yellow. Why not? I haven't used yellow in a while. Go ahead. Put some yellow in there. These little bottles, they're about 2-ounce bottles, so I use probably about 1 ounce of that. If I need to get more, I'll use more. It's already pre-mixed. All right. And I am going to add some white. It's not going to be our base color. It's just going to be added to this white, just to kind of highlight some of those areas around the cells. All right. So some of my paint is already pre-mixed. Some of it is just acrylic paint itself. The paints that aren't pre-mixed, I tend to use Floetrol. So I'm gonna go ahead at this time and add some Floetrol. But if you guys are just tuning in, this is Poured On Juancho. You can find us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We've just talked about the pouring technique that we're going to do today, which is the swipe technique. We have 2 panels here today. So the colors are going to go across both panels, and then we're going to swipe. So far, we got white, we got yellow, we have a regular purple, we have amethyst, we have metallic silver, we have a sky blue, and we have a pearl peacock, which is like a metallic turquoise. So I'm just going to add some pouring medium to my sky blue. I'm gonna go ahead and add some to my purple. Set that for the side for a second. And let's move these cups out the way. All right, so I'm gonna grab me a couple of straws here so I can mix these up. All right. You want to make sure that pouring medium is mixed all the way together with the color. It may lighten it up a little bit. If it does, that's okay. You can add a little bit more paint to darken the pigment. Like I said, the 2 paint's a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water to my cup just to loosen that up a little bit. I want to mix it up really well. So usually if I'm doing this just off the show, I'll already have like colors pre-mixed. And I think eventually I'm gonna just move on to that where I have bottles pre-mixed up. And then that'll give me more time to share different techniques with you guys within the show. And then of course, we'll always revert back to the basics and, here and there so that you guys can see it start to finish, mixing the paint as well as pouring it onto the canvas. So I got my sky blue here. Trying to get that mixed up. See what that's going to look like. Sky blue is looking okay. Add a little bit more water to it. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so it's not exactly running off the straw. That's okay. And if you have to add more, just add it in small moderations. You want a little bit at a time. You don't want to add too much. You can always add more to it, but you can't take away from it. So just do it a little bit at a time until it meets your consistency. And this paint is a little bit thicker than I was expecting. Add a little bit more Floetrol to it. All right. So what we got here is mixing up a little bit better. It's still not really lighting up. It's still basically the same color that came out the bottle. The shade didn't turn too bad, but I'm just concerned about the thickness of our paint. So I'm gonna go ahead and add just a little bit more. Okay. All right, so we got our sky blue about ready. We got our white. I'm gonna add a little bit of Floetrol to the silver as well, just because it it's a little bit older paint and it looks like it thickened up a little bit. So just kind of get that. This was already pre-mixed before and I just poured it back in the bottle. I just haven't used it in a while. So just gonna see what happens. Adding a little bit of Floetrol and water to it will do. And of course, I'm gonna add our lubricant oil to it as well. So at each one of these cups, I'm gonna add about 3 drops, y'all. 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. All right. So I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that oil in real quick. So make sure it gets through all of the paint. And we're still a little too thick on the purple. You might have to play with it a little bit to get that paint the right consistency. Usually I get pre-made paints, but I like to switch up the colors a little bit. A lot of the pre-made paints only come in so many colors, and if you want to have a color variation, then it'd be your best bet to go ahead and buy regular acrylic paint, and then you can just mix it. 2-part paint, 1 part medium. All right, so we got our colors. We have our colors. I think these are gonna be okay. Let me finish mixing this one up. If you guys are just tuning in, this is Poured On Juancho. You can find us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm just mixing up the paint right now, y'all. I added some acrylic lubricant oil drops to this stuff. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the rest of the yellow just because I haven't really used this in a while, and I just want to really get some yellow in there. Really want to get some yellow in there. And I think I'm gonna use a little bit more of the peacock before I add that. Ooh, did not want to do that. Watch your clumps, y'all. Watch the clumps because it can mess up your canvas. So let's see. Grab another glove. All right. All right. So we got that. I'm gonna grab this stir stick real quick. And paint looks like it thickened up a little bit. I don't know if that's temperature based control or what happened here, but some of these paints are a little bit thicker than I'm used to. And so I'm having to add a little water to get them. All right, I think we're good on that one. All right, so here we go. We ready to swipe. I think I'm gonna go ahead and start adding some colors to the canvas. Let's start with the amethyst. Let me get these canvases about lined up there. We're gonna start with the amethyst at the top. And let's see here. All right, we got our amethyst. Gonna add silver next. Let's see. Let's go with the turquoise. Mix that just a little bit more. Grab the turquoise, and then we're gonna put that next to the silver. And this is not as runny as I would like it to be. That's okay. I think we're gonna come with yellow. I'm gonna do yellow now. So I'm just gonna bring that back through there. There we go. A little bit more water to this. Purple is just a little bit too thick for my liking. So I'm gonna just add a little bit more water, mix that up really good so it's fluid. If you guys are just tuning in, this is Pour It On Juancho. You can find me every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we're working on a swipe pour. I have 2 panels in front of me. We've added 4 colors to the panel so far. We're about to come with our 5th color here, and we'll proceed. So see here, we got purple. All right. I'll come back with add a little bit more water to the sky blue. The cheaper paints, like, you really have to be mindful of. They're a different breed. They don't tend to mix as well as the more expensive paint. So keep that in mind when you're getting your paint. What consistency you want to have. If you want the colors to be bold, the pigment for the paint to be bold, then you want to spend a little bit more on your paint. If you don't really care, you just want to test it out to see what you're going to come up with before you really get into it, then yeah, I would say just get some cheap stuff and have at it. I'm going to add this blue here. And add some here. And I'm going to take this yellow. Do a line there. And then I'm going to come back. Is there any more in here? All right, so I'm just going to pour the rest of this yellow on here. And this was actually like some really just cheap paint, this yellow. It was like a little pre-made kit. It was a pre-made kit that you could buy at Michael's. Most of the craft stores have pre-made paint, so you just got to look through it. If you don't see something you like, you might look on Amazon and find something that you like if you're going for a specific color. All right. I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna go ahead and add some more teal to this cup because that's what I really want to be using. So we're gonna got our paint, our Floetrol. Mix that up nice. Let's see, I got a clump right there. There we go. All right. Add a couple more drops to this one since we emptied the last batch already onto the canvas. So do that real quick. right. And I'm gonna come right here and add white. I'm gonna come right here, add white. And I actually got a little bit more white right here that I can use. So I'm just gonna use that and use up the rest of these little bottles of white, get rid of it since we can. All right. I'm gonna add some more teal right here in between this white up here. And bring the sky blue down here at the bottom. All right. And got all this. Let me add a little bit more of this amethyst on here. Grab my cup. There we go. 3 drops again. Then I'm just gonna mix it up one quick time. And we're gonna come through here. Oops, did not mean to do that, but it happened anyway, so let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. Let's roll with it. You guys just tuning in. This is Poured on Juancho. You can find us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm just adding the last bit of the rows of color here onto the canvas so that we can go ahead and do our swipe and see what we come up with. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the cups out the way real quick. I have a little bit of silver here that I wanted to still use. I'm gonna go ahead and add a little bit more Floetrol to this. So I see I only got silver up at the top, and I want to kind of make sure that we get a little bit all over the canvas, so all those colors flow, blend in. So they all flow and blend in. So I'm about to take this. And if anybody has questions at the end, I always leave time to answer questions. So if I didn't see your question, trust me, I'm not ignoring you. I'm just trying to do the instruction so that we can complete the show. You guys can actually see something, a finished pour. This keep your paint temperature regulated too. This will be a lesson to everybody. Keep your paint temperature regulated so it doesn't coagulate and all that weird stuff. All right, so I'm just gonna go add some silver in some spots. Add some silver down here. And I see I have a couple of bare areas, so I'm just gonna take paint and that's left over and just kind of fill these areas in. Because again, it's a swipe, so you're gonna have different elements throughout the piece. I just want to make sure that we capture the paint and it's the whole canvas in its entirety. So these little areas that have gaps. I'm gonna go ahead and try to fill some of those in. All right. So now that we got our paint on the canvas and things like that, I'm gonna actually take a paper towel. You guys, I'm gonna take a paper towel and I'm gonna get it wet with isopropyl alcohol. This is another way to help develop the smaller cells. So I'm just gonna get the bottom part of it damp enough to pull it across the canvas. Okay. And while I'm doing that, I'm also going to go ahead and get the heat gun ready so that that will help develop some of those cells. I'm going to move this cup out the way. Move this cup out the way. And all right. I don't like wasting paint, so if I could use it all, I will. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna just do one side at a time, and I'm just gonna gently uh, pull it across the top of it. All right, that's one. I'm gonna throw the napkin over here to the side. All right, gotta get one more of these paper towels, kind of damp here with some alcohol. You want to really use nine. I have 70 proof here, y'all. 90 proof is better for this, but that's not to say that if you get 70 or 80, like you're not gonna get any results. You'll still get some results. As you can see, they're developing already. The cells here on the piece. So just gonna. All right. All right. So we got the paint on there, y'all. As you can see, the cells are starting to develop already. And I haven't even maneuvered the paint around the canvas or anything like that. It's just really the amount of medium consistency throughout the paints and all that are actively helping develop these cells. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and get this heat gun. And then we're gonna plug that in and see what happens. I'll plug it in and see what happens. I'm gonna plug this right now. Got the blow dryer hooked up here. We don't need that today. We need the heat gun. So be careful. I'm sorry, this is like, ooh. And the heat gun it does blow, so make sure you're not having it too close to the paint. And I'm actually gonna flip these canvases around, y'all. I'm gonna flip them around. Let me move this messed up paper towel out the way. The reason why I'm gonna move them around because I want to get this other side swiped down. I don't know if you can see it, but it didn't. I didn't get the swipe all the way down. So actually, going to do this again. All right. And I'm just gonna shift this. All right. If you guys are just tuning in, this is Poured On Juancho. You can find us every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today we're working on a swipe pour. I used about 6 colors today, 7 colors or so. And now we're just swiping the paint so that we can go ahead and get these cells created here. I didn't add anything to that one. That's okay, because I just want to see the difference. Just want to see the difference. All right. So we got that one. About time for a new tablecloth. If you're doing this, y'all, I recommend a tablecloth. You don't want to mess up your tables, especially if you got expensive furniture. You don't want to mess it up. Make sure you protect your stuff. Don't say Wancho told me to do this and then I did it. Then I got paint all over my new sofa and did it. Nope, Wancho didn't tell you to do that. I told you to get a drop cloth. Told you to get a drop cloth. You just wasn't listening. That's what happened. You wasn't listening. All right. So I'm just gonna let this. I'm gonna let this sit for a second to get hot, so that I can. There we go. And as you can see, those cells are starting to pop out just from the heat gun alone is helping those cells develop. And I feel like I kind of want to swipe that other side one more time just because I don't feel like we got the paint to the edge there. And I want the paint to the edge. So we're gonna come back and let me see. I can actually take this. So you can use a knife also to swipe. It doesn't have to be a paper towel. You can use any object, a piece of cardboard, anything. I'm just gonna try to. I'm not even left-handed, but we're gonna try it. See if these. Nope. Did me no justice. Did me no justice. All right. I think we're gonna leave it alone. I think we're gonna leave it alone. Try to move the paint a little bit. I'm just trying to adjust it a little bit just so I can get the paint to cover everything. As you can see, it is not. And sometimes that happens, but I don't like when that happens. So I'm just going to let it run a little bit, and let it run right there. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. As you see, we got two panels here, y'all. We got two panels here. Both of them, we poured the paint across both sides. Obviously, there was areas where I kind of overlapped some of the paint colors. There was areas where I just had just that straight color itself. Uh, but we got a painting here, y'all. We got a painting here. So at this point in time, we get into what I call show and tell and Q&A. So can you tell us why you chose the colors today? There really wasn't a rhyme or reason for today's colors. I was just trying to try a new color combination, and I actually picked the colors right in front of you guys. It wasn't like I sat here before the show and say, "Hey, I want to use these colors." There are times where I do that if I have a certain thing envisioned. I just knew I wanted to do a swipe pour, and I knew that I wanted to try out other color combinations that I haven't really tried together per se. Um, and then I also wanted to try the isopropanol alcohol swipe. Um, Not all swipes are gonna you have to use alcohol. Some people add alcohol to their actual paint. Um, be careful with that because it will coagulate if you add too much alcohol to your paint. Um, if you could title your painting, what would you call it? Oh, jeez. I don't know because I didn't know what I was gonna get into with this one. I really didn't. I do like the color combinations, how the cell tracing is in certain areas. I don't know if you guys can see those highlighted. It almost looks uh like kind of like a neon effect. That's what the tracing is around the actual cells. You can see it in here. And some of the colors are layered. They're layered with the tracing. So it's not like it's just a single color outlining one color. You got multiple colors outlining each other. Um, but it is tropical looking, like you know, it makes me want some tropical starburst or something, but now that I've completed the painting, what was my favorite part about it and what would I change? I would say my favorite part was just using the different color combinations this time. I hadn't used yellow in a while. I really want to use yellow and see what that brought to the painting. Like I said, I like the tracing around the cells and things like that. Um, and then the cells themselves in the different areas, you got different clusters of types of cells throughout these pieces. You got them more clustered down here, they're more traced around here and around here, so I like the dimensions to the way that these colors highlight each other on this piece. The thing that I would probably change different is, as you guys can see, uh, temperature around your materials, like your paint, can affect the paint. So you want to make sure you have your temperature regulated. I didn't have this paint temperature regulated, so I've been doing a whole bunch of other stuff. I work and stuff throughout the week. Um, which is no excuse. I should have had temperature regulated so that I didn't go through that. But it still nonetheless still came out. So I'm not dissatisfied with the piece. I'm not gonna say I'm dissatisfied with the piece. It very much still, it's something that I like. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it yet, but I like it. Um, but at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and open the floor for you guys and you viewers in the audience. And if you have any questions that you want to ask or anything like that, um, go ahead and you guys can ask those questions. If you ask a question I missed it, please go ahead and drop it in the comments right now so that I can get that answer for you. Anybody got any questions about today's piece? Just dope. That's dope. That's all. Y'all like it. Just dope. All right. Okay. Okay. No questions. No questions. At this time, I'm really gonna just take. How long does it take to dry? Um, fully, it could dry in about 24 hours, but I personally would give it probably about 48 hours because some spots still might be a little bit damp. Some spots still might be a little bit damp if you weren't able to get enough of the excess paint off. So, with that being said, like, and then there's also the quality of the paint too. Like I said, you're if you get good paint, you're gonna have a lot better results. If you get this is a mixture of really good paint and some crappy paint because there was some of those colors were dollar store, like the baby blue, that was a dollar store color. Um, I think the yellow wasn't dollar store. I think that okay, so the amethyst and the baby blue were dollar store paints. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I had a little bit more issue with those. They were cheaper. And then everything else was like a name brand. I got Nick was it Nick Pro? Yeah, I got Nick Pro. I'm using Deco Art and uh Craft Smart and Artist Loft are the brands that I used as well outside of the dollar store brand. I'm gonna let you guys get a more up close look of today's pieces. So I'm gonna close the box so you guys can see get that visual. Move the box. All right. What's my favorite brand of paint? Um, I'm not gonna say I necessarily have a favorite brand per se. I tend to use Nick Pro and Artist Loft a lot. I don't necessarily say they're my favorite, but they have a lot of colors that are pre-mixed. Um, but if I see a color I want to use, I don't care what brand it is. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't care what brand it is. If I like the color and I really want to test it out and see how the combination works with a piece, I'm gonna get it regardless, and then I'm gonna mix it up so that it's a pouring paint. Can you which let's see, what was the other question? Can this be done on jeans? I never tried it. I never tried it, but I could tell you that I ain't gonna tell you exact dates or nothing, but somewhere in the near future, there's gonna be some poured on with some clothes. So I don't know if we got any interested people in there for that, but if you're interested, if you're interested, make sure you hit me on the Instagram. The links in the my profile here. Hit me on the Instagram. Um, hit me in the inbox. Let me know what it is, your idea, what you're trying to do, and we'll get it cracking with that. But in the meantime, between time, let's say, hey, I'm extremely picky on the paints I use. Yeah, it could be the paints. Like I said, the paints can be. I'm not gonna lie. Some paints can be a pain, but I tend to confine my way around using just about any paint. Like I said, it's all about the consistency of that paint and understanding that consistency and how you're gonna mix the other elements, the acrylic painting oil, and you ready to see the eagle eye? My apologies. All right, so here we go. So I'll get you guys like close up and you see how it like almost like glows because of the tracing around it. All right. And then you got down over here where it's multiple colors. I know you can't see it as well off camera. In person you could see the layers of each color more so, um tracing each other. You got some nice cells right there. Got some really beautiful cells going on right there. Got a couple like full color patches. We got some marbling look to it over there. And these cells are still developing through the paint. As it dries, more cells are going to develop. So what you see right now isn't necessarily the finished image. As it dries, the cells are going to expand. Um, they're going to develop more, um, and probably be a little bit more detailed than they are right now. So like I said, it's all in what you want. So here we go. So I'll get you guys like close up, and you see how it like almost like glows because of the tracing around it. All right. And then you got down over here where it's multiple colors. I know you can't see it as well off camera. In person you could see the layers of each color more so, um tracing each other. You got some nice cells right there. Got some really beautiful cells going on right there. Got a couple like full color patches. We got some marbling look to it over there. And these cells are still developing through the paint. As it dries, more cells are going to develop. So what you see right now isn't necessarily the finished image. As it dries, the cells are going to expand. Um, they're going to develop more, um, and probably be a little bit more detailed than they are right now. So like I said, it's all in what you